Energy, 1274 of 1343. As I looked at my progress one more time, I silently declared that my resolve couldn't be swayed. If this was going to end, it needed to be on my terms. Not those of the goddess, not those of the great protector. My own. I'm sorry, Jen. I need to do this alone. I reached my left hand towards Jen's shoulder. Jen felt my movements and looked up in time to notice my arm coming towards her. Instinctively, she darted to my left. In the blink of an eye, she jumped out of my reach. Her swords were already beaming as she wiped away her tears. She'd made up her mind, too. And as I watched her gaze dart between me and the portal, I knew I couldn't convince her otherwise. Shift weight. Decrease weight. I shifted my weight to my legs and kicked off, decreasing my weight to near nothing quickly after I sprinted to catch her. Cracks appeared in the ground where I jumped as I hurried to her side. Jen's speed meant she almost beat me there, but I intercepted her only steps away from the portal. And for a split second, I almost backed down. But I looked in her eyes again, and I knew there was no other way. I couldn't risk hurting her, but it was too late for half measures. Increase weight, shift weight. I swung my enhanced leg to kick her away from the portal. The lightness of my body and months of honing my energy made me slightly faster than her reflexes, as she barely got her swords up to meet my kick. The swords shattered as she tumbled away. I chased after her, not backing down. Standing up and new swords ready, Jen faced me with a new fire in her eyes. Falling weight. Jen didn't stand around to wait for my skill to descend, already stepping away from the affected spot. I tried to catch her in my skill again, but I'd become too predictable, and the skill wasn't fast enough to catch her as she dodged my trap. Swords of light started flying from above her head and streaking towards me. Dodging the swords slowed me down. She angled her projectiles to pin my legs down, and I had to stop trying to catch her with falling weight. I moved to reach Jen's position, forced to bat her swords away from the energy shrouding my body. Darting around, I did everything I could to keep away from the dungeon boss portal, as Jen tried her best to stay out of my reach. Eventually, I caught her off guard and appeared at her side, reaching to grab her shoulder again. But indecision slowed me down as her sword swung around and came crashing down towards me. Years of sparring together made it clear her swords weren't at their sharpest. Even then, I couldn't afford an injury, not right before entering the boss room. One severe enough wound, and she could use it as an excuse to keep me from going through the portal. Blocking her swords with my arm guards, I activated falling weight again, this time on top of both of us. I'd used this trick several times before, and she could usually get clear of the area, but this time I saw her shoulders slump from the weight I'd added around us both. The weight wouldn't be enough to keep her there for long, so I took my opportunity. I swept away her final lazy attempt at a strike and grabbed her in an embrace. I held on to her, feeling her rasping breaths as her small frame collapsed into my own. "I'm sorry," I said, as I used skills to add over 1,000 pounds to her body. Any less, and I could imagine her crawling into the portal after me. She cried in my arms as I looked back at my friends who'd been gracious enough to stay out of the fight. I nodded to Britta, Cassie, and Grep, their own faces wet with tears as well. Jen didn't stop sobbing as I slowly let go and stepped back to show her my face. My cheeks were wet. At some point, I'd also been crying. And again, I almost changed my mind. But I held my resolve as I said goodbye. "Look after the others while I'm inside."